everyone, and welcome back to another Wizard101 video. And you know what we're doing today? Say it with me now. Slop content. I know. A lot of people actually genuinely like the slop content, and to be fair, I don't dislike it. It just feels a little lazy sometimes when I throw up a video and I'm like, here you go guys, it's a tier list, but that's fine. Today I have a little bit of a headache and I don't even want to sign on to Wiz, so we're doing slop content. Today we're ranking all of the AOEs in Wizard101. You can see here from this perfect to awful tier list. And I will say this tier list is a little outdated because certain spells, as you can see here, such as Snowball Barrage, are the old Shadow version. What I'm going to do for those is I'm going to look up each of these spells and then rank their new version of the spells instead of the old version, obviously. So it might be a bit confusing visually, but I will note every time it gets to one of those spells whether or not it has been changed and what it has been changed to. So without further ado, let's get into it, ranking them in order by schools. Starting off, we're going to have Meteor Strike, which is the 4-pip fire AOE. I'd say that the 4-pip AOEs are probably on the great tier, and the reason why I say that is the fact that while obviously nowadays there are many spells that are better, you're going to be using the 4-pip AOE for like the vast majority of the game. Like Meteor Strike, for example, you use from like level 26 or 22 all the way up to what, 160 or something. So these spells will last you the vast majority of the game, and they are really good. The only reason why they're not probably higher is the fact that you're only going to use them in mob battles for one, and two, they're replaced by the Wallaroo AOE in the future. Next up, we have Scald, and Scald is one that's interesting because it is very situational in the fact that while it is good, it is incredibly good if you can actually use the Incendiate strategy with Scald. I would actually rank Scald at an amazing. If you don't know, basically first round, if you get the Incendiate hat, the Dahlia Falmea's hat from the Professor Horde pack, if you get the Dwarven's Havoc Hood for Mass Paint, you get 1 fire to cast Scald and then 1 to cast Incendiate. Basically first round, you can do like a massive amount of damage to bosses. I'm talking like 20 to 30k damage to bosses. So while this spell isn't really good normally, because it has one of the best first round strats in the game, I feel like I have to put it in the amazing tier, and it is a really good spell even without that. Like doing 525 damage over 3 rounds isn't horrible early game. It might be a bit worse late game, but early game it's not that bad. Now next up we have Fire Dragon, and the 7-pip AoEs are interesting because we're starting with, in my opinion, the worst 7-pip AoE. I'm going to put it into great. I made a video on this a few days ago on why Fire is the most unique school, and it's interesting because Fire Dragon specifically is technically the weakest of the 7-pip AoEs. The reason why is the fact that it divides the damage between the first hit and the second hit. So when you enchant it with Epic, the first hit increases by 150, the second hit increases by 150, right? Which means that this, while enchanted with an Epic, does 690 damage, which is a base unenchanted Stormlord. Compare that to even to like a Frost Giant that does 870 while enchanted. Fire Dragon is technically the weakest 7-pip AoE, despite the fact that it technically has a base total damage of a bit higher than basically everyone. It is technically the weakest. So I'm going to put it into great, but it is obviously a 7-pip AoE, and 7-pip AoEs are amazing in this game, and most of the other 7-pip AoEs will probably be in the top tier. Next up we have Rain of Fire, and Rain of Fire is one that I'm going to put like down here at, actually I'm going to put it into bad, because I'll be honest, while Rain of Fire is interesting, it does cost 9 pips, which is a lot, and really that 810 damage over time is only going to be really good if you have like a detonate probably with feints, and then that 130 hit at base will take the feints, so you need to set up the feints the same round you detonate, which means you need a coordinated team. You get the point. Rain of Fire is not the best, and I would say in terms of AoEs, it is probably low on the list. Next up we have Sun Serpent, and Sun Serpent I'm going to put in the decent tier. I think it is interesting. I like the base like 800 damage to one enemy and then a 330 over to the other enemies. It can make boss fights, specifically post-Azteca, really good. The problem I have with Sun Serpent is it is a 10-pip spell, and 10-pip spells tend to be quite a bit harder to use than every other spell, because if you're stacking feints in like a solo encounter, you're not going to be able to get up to 10 pips very easily. So I think that's fair. I don't think it's like end of the world bad. It is just, as I put, decent. All right, next up we have Rage Bull, and how I'm going to rank these Shadow Pip AoE spells is basically, I'm going to say that the Shadow Enchanted version of them, currently I would put in the bad tier. Now the reason why is the fact that getting a Shadow Pip is incredibly difficult to do right now. Like, I think it is technically bugged right now where you get them incredibly slow. It takes like 7 to 8 rounds to get a Shadow Pip. It's just not worth it for these. And there's also the damage backlash from the packs, which I don't think is anything major. Some guy commented on that video saying like, Noah, you're stupid for not knowing this. And I'm like, okay, it just came out, and also that 15% health damage, whatever you take from the pack, isn't even that big. That's not a, it's barely a big thing. But that guy's a special kind of angry. These shadow versions are all going to be bad because I do think that getting a shadow pip is too difficult. So I'm going to be basically ranking the base versions, and the base version of Rage Bull is just kind of okay. Like, it is better than Meteor Strike technically, but because by the time you get this, you're going to be getting a pip deck, so you're going to be starting with 5 pips, and if you pass around, it just makes more sense to use a Fire Dragon instead of the unshadow version of Rage Bull. So I'm just going to put it at okay. It's not good, not bad, it's whatever. Now, next up we have Scorching Scimitars, which does 220 divided damage and 420 heal over time. Now, divided damage, if for some reason you don't know how it works, basically if you select one enemy, it will do that full 220 damage. If you select 2, it'll do 110 to each. You get the point. It keeps dividing it the more enemies you select. I think that this spell basically is pretty bad now with the non-Shadow Pip version. The Shadow Pip version is obviously decent because it does increase the damage a lot, but getting a Shadow Pip is incredibly difficult still. So overall, this spell is just bad in every way now. It's just not worth using. It's whatever. All right, next up we have Blast Off, and the new version of Blast Off will extend a damage over time by 1 round and then deal 690 damage after 4 rounds to all enemies. I think that this spell is, it's not on the same level as Rage Bull. I'm gonna put it into bad. I honestly also think that this is bad. Waiting 4 rounds kind of sucks. Also, extending the damage over time isn't anything that good. I don't know. In terms of 6 pip AoEs, like, I would much rather just use Fire Dragon on a fire. It's much better, in my opinion, if you were going to use Fire Dragon rather than Blast Off a Rage Bull. I just don't think that they're that good, to be honest. Next up, we have Phantasmania, which is a Wallaroo AoE, and the Wallaroo AoEs are going to immediately go at the top of the list. They are basically the best thing that you can get in this game in terms of AoEs, especially if you can manage to upgrade them to full. They're pretty good in that regard. So I'm going to put them up there. I think that that's a fair assessment of the Wallaroo AoEs, especially now that you can use them first round, which you weren't able to use before. All right, I just realized that I need to zoom out slightly because you guys cannot see the full tier list. All right, next up we have the Dragoon Amulet AoE. And the Dragoon Amulet AoE, I'm going to put into awful because Dragoon gear sucks to farm. If you farm it, you're a psychopath. No one farms Dragoon gear anymore. No one does the catacombs anymore. And getting the Dragoon Amulet is absolutely not worth it, especially since this AoE, while much better than a 4-pip AoE, is not something that I would recommend. And the animation does not hit all at once, which is just annoying. So while these are technically really good, I would heavily recommend just skipping Dragoon gear, and I'm putting them in awful because of that. Next up we have Blizzard. Blizzard is probably in the great tier as well. I think that that's a fair assessment of Blizzard. I like it. It's a 4-pip AoE. It'll last you most of the game. Next up we have Reindeer Knight, and Reindeer Knight is interesting because technically it is not as good as Blizzard. Now you may be asking, Noah, why is that the case? Well, the main reason is that a Blizzard Enchanted is going to do like up to 590 first round, while a Reindeer Knight Enchanted will only add 150 since there is a damage over time on it, so it would only do about 400 first round. So technically it's not as good as Blizzard. Now I will say, Reindeer Knight actually has 3 separate spellment paths you can go down, and one of them does 295 damage at base and adds a shield to you. If you go down that section of Reindeer Knight, I actually would put Reindeer Knight a little bit higher. I would probably put it at the great tier. It is basically Blizzard but better because it adds a shield to you and it does 295 damage. So keep that in mind. The only real issue with it is the ice pip, but that's going to be fine once you reach level 50. Next up we have Frost Giant, and Frost Giant is going to go into amazing, and I think it's the only 7-pip AoE that's not going to go into perfect beyond Fire Dragon. The main reason is that its base damage is just really low, and then the stun is basically useless. So Frost Giant as a whole is kind of weaker than most other 7-pip AoEs. Maybe Fire Dragon should go a tier higher if I'm thinking about it, but honestly, I'm going to stick with my guns. Frost Giant does deal a 150 base damage, higher than an Enchanted Fire Dragon, which does technically make it better in my eyes, especially if you're feint stacking. Next up we have Snow Angel, and Snow Angel is honestly pretty horrible as a AoE spell. It is basically Rain of Fire, except it does less damage. So you know what? I'm actually going to put an awful. I think it's one of the worst AoEs in this game and genuinely has no reason to do it. Next up we have Snowball Barrage, and obviously nowadays Snowball Barrage does not do 95 damage per pip and cost a Shadow Pip. Now it does 45 damage per pip, and the Enchanted Shadow version does 140 damage per pip. Again, the Shadow version probably goes in the bad or okay tier. The main version, I'm either going to put it in the good or great tier. I'm going to put it in the good tier because by the time you're going to be upgrading this spell, it's not going to be like the best thing in the world. If you calculate the base damage, if you do like 45 times 5, it's only 225, which if you compare that to Reindeer Knight or Blizzard, is just not nearly as good. This spell is going to be good for like cleaning up enemies. It's going to be good for mopping up enemies. Or if you wait a bunch of rounds, I guess it could technically be good. Like if you wait for a full 14 pips. Next up, we have Climaclysm, which deals 200 divided ice damage and applies a plus 60 ice damage ward split among the selected enemies. I think similar to Scorching Scimitars, this is just kind of bad. It's not really good. You're not doing a ton of damage. And why would you use this 4-pip spell when you could use pretty much any other 4-pip spell? It deals less damage than Blizzard. So I don't really know why you would ever use this. And as an AOE spell, these are actually even worse because, again, that's 220 damage. If you select all 4 enemies, that's going to only be like 50 damage per enemy, which is bad. So keep that in mind. Next up, we have Freeze Ray, which Freeze Ray does 415 ice damage to all enemies, similar to Rage Bull. I'm just going to put this at the good tier. I think that technically it is going to be decent compared to like Blizzard and Reindeer Knight, but it does cost that awkward 6 pips, which means you can't use it first round. And if you're going to pass around, you would just rather use Frost Giant anyway. Next up, we have Count Crocula, which is going to be in S tier. The Wallaroo AoEs are just S tier spells. They're really good. You can use them first round for a massive amount of damage, and you can increase these damage with spell elements. This is the base version, which deals 400. I believe the fully upgraded deals 435 or 440, somewhere in that range, which is pretty good. Next up, we have Snowball Strike, which is 185 and then plus 20% ice damage spell to all. It's not anything very good, and it is very specifically you need the Snowball pet to actually even access this. It's probably just bad. I don't know if it's awful. It's probably just bad, but you can use it like very, very early game if you want to, like against like Croc to Marleybone enemies. Next up, we have the Ice Weavern, which is the Dragoon AoE. You guys know what I think about this one. I think that this one is just horrible. Dragoon AoEs suck. Next up, we have Tempest, and Tempest is going to be our third perfect tier. It's Tempest. You're going to be using this all the way from like levels 28 all the way up to probably still max on a storm. You might carry one in your deck just in case, you know, if you fail to kill, you have 2 pips, boom, you use it again, you might kill. Once you have a max storm, a 2-pip Tempest does like 3k damage. Next up, we have Stormlord, which also goes into perfect AoE. It is a 7-pip AoE. You can improve this with spell elements to get it up to like 730 something or 740 damage at base, which is technically higher than base Orthrus if you use spell elements, but it is a good 7-pip AoE. You're going to be using this to incredible effect on basically every enemy. Next up, we have Sirens, which is 9 pips for 765 to 905 damage and a minus 40 accuracy to all. I think Sirens is good, but I wouldn't put it higher than that. It is 9 pips, which is a little bit annoying. It can technically deal more damage than Stormlord. I think that it's decent enough, but for 90% of boss encounters, you're just probably going to use Stormlord anyway because of the pip cost, and the minus 40 accuracy doesn't really do anything because I'm assuming you were aiming to one-shot the enemies anyway. All right, next up we have Glowbugs, which deals 520 storm damage to all enemies. This is basically going to be a Wallaroo AoE, but even earlier. I would say Glowbugs is actually probably going to be on the amazing tier. Now, the reason why is that first round, a storm will be able to cast Glowbugs for 520 storm damage before you get the Wallaroo AoE. So from levels 100 to 170, technically this is going to be the best first round killing spell out of basically almost any in the game. So Glowbugs is actually pretty dang good. It's our first shadow spell in like the top half of the list besides Snowball Barrage. Next up, we have Iron Sultan, which deals 495 storm damage split among selected enemies. You guys know my opinion on these spells by now. They're pretty bad. I think that this one actually could be considered a little better, but even then, if you still select 4 enemies, that's still only like 125 damage per enemy, which does kind of suck. I mean, if you enchant it, that's what, 200 damage per enemies? Still would be way better to just use Glowbugs or something. So I don't think Iron Sultan is ever worth using. These split selected spells are really bad unless you're selecting a single target, and even then, you would much rather use like Triton as a single target spell than Iron Sultan IMO. Next up, we have Sounds of Musicology, which deals 430 storm damage to all enemies and applies a plus 35 storm damage charm on the caster. I think this one is decent, but it's not going to go higher than this. Again, Glowbugs is simply better. I don't know why you would ever use this over Glowbugs, but it does deal a decent amount of damage. It costs 5 pips. It's okay. You could probably use this first round and get the blade and then use a Tempest next round if you didn't kill, and with the blade, it will deal more than Glowbugs would have done. There is that in terms of the spell, but I don't think other than that, it's anything particularly good. Next up, we have Bunyip, and Bunyip's going to be one of the best spells in this game. It deals 605 base damage first round. You upgrade that, you get that to like 650 or whatever it is. Enchant it, that's going to be a massive 900 and whatever base damage first first round, which is just incredibly insane. Next up, we have Squall Weaver, which is awful. We hate the Dragoon spells in this household. Next up, we have Rat Spin, and Rat Spin is interesting because I would actually put it probably in the amazing category. Now, the problem with Rat Spin, obviously, is that you can't learn it naturally, which does suck. However, if you get Rat Spin and you upgrade Rat Spin to max, it is technically the best 4-pip AoE in the entire game, barring probably Ship of Fools. I think it does deserve to go over the other 4-pip AoEs. It is really, really, really good. Next up, we have Forest Lord, and Forest Lord is probably going to go into the perfect tier as well. It's a 7-pip AoE. It deals a ton of damage, 620 to 680. It's really good. It's what a life is going to be using basically the entire game. All right, next up, we have Wings of Fate, which deals 75 damage plus 270 damage over time and 75 healing plus 270 healing over time. I think that this one is decent, but it's not really good. I would put it above Rage Bull and Freeze Ray just because it gives the healing and it is good in terms of, you know, healing all your allies, but I don't think it's anything amazing. I think that if you were going to use 6 pips, I would much rather you just cast like a Pigsy or another spell. Even a Unicorn would probably be better than a Wings of Fate in my opinion, but it's decent. It does give healing, and I think that that's pretty cool. Next up, we have Lammasu, and again, you know my opinions on these spells, not really good. You guys know my opinions on these spells. I'm gonna stop going into like massive depth with these. All right, so if you weren't paying attention, you were looking at the text on the screen, I actually ranked the last like 3 spells based on the old shadow version of the spell rather than the new version of the spell, which means that they're a little bit off. While the last one, I could just throw the text on the screen, this one I can't because I'm gonna be honest, this one is like completely changed. I said that it deals 720 damage and converts 50% of an absorb to a blade. That is not what it does anymore. Now it deals 360 damage to all enemies and converts 10% of an absorb to a blade, which is significantly worse. So I would actually probably put that in the bad category, honestly. Now it's like, it's even worse than Rage Bull and Freeze Ray in my opinion, and honestly Wings of Fate is too. So both of those kind of go significantly lower than where they would have gone based on my original ranking, just sheerly because that's not really how good they actually are. That's how good they used to be. Next up, we have Zan the Bandit, and again, this is going to be in the perfect tier. Similar to the other Wallaroo AoEs, it's just a really, really good spell. Again, the only thing that really brings this down is technically Rat Spin is almost just as good as it, but I would still obviously rather use Zan the Bandit because Rat Spin doesn't deal as much damage. It's pretty good. All right, next up we have Leaf Storm, which I believe is from the Kookaburra pet. I'm going to put this one at decent, mainly because you can't enchant it, but obviously if life doesn't have another AoE, like if you don't train Rat Spin, this is going to be very helpful for a lot of the game, but it's not as good as like, you know, the regular 4-pip AoEs because you can't enchant it. So I'm going to put it into decent. I think it's all right. I don't think it's anything fantastically good. Next up, we have Spiny Sore, which is the 4-pip Dragoon AoE. You're going into awful tier. I don't care. I hate you. I hate you. No one likes you. Next up, we have Ship of Fools, and Ship of Fools is actually going to be our first 4-pip AoE that goes into the perfect tier. This spell is amazing. 300 damage, divided health, heal back, which is just so good. I mean, it is going to be really the best 4-pip AoE you can get in this entire game, hands down, not even close. And if you upgrade it, it gets up to like 340 damage. So it gets up to be one of the highest base damage plus a heal back on a spell. It's just so good. Ship of Fools is amazing. If you've never played on a death with Ship of Fools, you don't know just how good this AoE feels. You're ending every fight with full health. Next up, we have Deer Knight, and similar to Reindeer Knight, if you go the middle path, it deals 325 at base and then puts a weakness on the enemy. I think that that's great, but it's not like insanely good. I think that if you have Ship of Fools, it's just going to be flat out way better than Deer Knight ever could be, but I'm going to put it into great because if you do get a Deer Knight, it is going to be a decent enough first round AoE, besides the fact that you can't really cast it first round up until you get a deck at like level 100, so it's okay. I don't know. It's decent, but it's nothing insanely good. Next up, we have Scarecrow. Scarecrow is another perfect spell. It's probably the best 7-pip AoE. Deals 590 at base, which is a little bit weaker than other AoEs, but it has that heal back, which is just so good. It makes death unkillable. These two spells right here will make a death basically unkillable. Next up, we have Avenging Fossil, which deals 710 to 810, and then 260 death damage over 3 rounds to all enemies. This is basically Sun Serpent, but slightly worse. I'm going to put it in the okay tier. It's all right, but like Sun Serpent as a whole is way better than Avenging Fossil actually is. You're never going to see a death using Avenging Fossil. It's okay. Call of Cthulhu is actually interesting because similar to Glowbugs, it is actually going to be really good good for a death to use Call of Cthulhu. If you don't have Deer Knight or you don't have Ship of Fools, this is going to be the first round AOE that you use from level 100 onwards. I believe it deals 315 base damage, which isn't insanely good, but it is going to be an AOE spell that you can use first round. It is technically a little bit worse than Deer Knight, but again, Deer Knight, you have to actually get the spell elements or you need to craft it. Call of Cthulhu, you just get naturally. So from levels 100 up to like 160, whatever, when you get the Walrus spell, this is going to be the best AOE you can get for a first round fight, and it is a divided, and we love heal back spells. So I'm going to put it in amazing. I think Call of Cthulhu is a lot better actually than it used to be. It's one of the spells that the removal of the Shadow Pip actually made it better rather than worse, and I think that that's pretty good. Next up, we have Kisma's Curse, which similar to the other divided spells is going into the bad tier. The divided just, it doesn't deal enough damage to ever use these IMO. Next up, we have Snack Attack, which pushes a weakness to an enemy and then deals, I believe, about 400 to 500 damage now without the Shadow Pip. This one is actually decent because it removes a weakness and then deals the damage, which is actually pretty good. So I'm going to put it above the rest of these like random 6-pip AoEs here and put it into the decent category. I don't think it's good, but I don't think it's bad either. And by the time you get this, you're going to be like probably 20 levels away from getting Wabagong Frenzy anyway, which is probably just going to be flat out a little bit better. So it's decent, but it would never really go higher than that. Next up, we have Wabagong Frenzy. You guys know Walrus AoEs, top of the list. They are really, really good. Next up, we have Colossifrog, which I'm going to put in the same tier as Leaf Storm. It is basically the death version of Leaf Storm. It's the AoE that you can get with the Gloomy Eye pet before you can get any other AoE. So it is decent. It's good for early levels, but you can't enchant it, and it's going to fall off heavy late game. It's going to be good until you can get an AoE to replace it. Next up, we have Dragoon Amulet. Awful tier. You're horrible. No one likes you. All right, next up, we have Myth, and Myth is going to be actually pretty easy to rank as well. So we're going to put Humongo Frog into great. You guys know my opinions on the 4-pip AoEs. I think that that's a pretty fair assessment. Earthquake, I'm going to put into the good category. The problem again is the 6 pips that it costs. It's technically going to be an upgrade to Humongo Frog for boss fights for like 10 levels until you can get Orthrus, which Orthrus is a perfect tier. It is technically the best 7-pip AoE in the entire game. Mystic Colossus removes 1 ward from the enemy and then deals 290 damage for 5 pips. Compared to the other 5-pip AoEs like Call of Cthulhu and Glowbugs, this one I'm just going to put into like the good category. It's all right. Honestly, you're probably just still going to use Humongo Frog anyway because Humongo Frog has a chance to deal more damage. I don't know. I don't think Mystic Colossus is anything that crazy good. Next up, we have Snake Charmer, which is going to go where the rest of the divided spells go. Now we have Tattleworm Terror, which is 5 pips for 325 damage and 50% chance to confuse the enemies for 1 round. I guess I'll put this into the great category technically because for the time you use it for like 25 levels, whatever, it's going to be the best AoE you can get up until you get Drop Bear Fury, which is going to go into the perfect tier. I think that it's all right, but like, again, you're only using it for a few levels. It's a first round AoE for like 20 levels. It's all right. Now we have Basilisk, which is the Dragoon Amulet spell, which goes into awful. And then we have Lord Humongo Frog, which is another pet spell, which deals 870 to 930 damage and stuns enemies for 1 round. It's an 8-pip AoE from a pet. I guess it's technically good, but I wouldn't recommend getting a pet specifically to get this spell. It's all right. I mean, it does deal a ton of damage, which is good. Actually, I'm going to move that down a tier because thinking about it, an enchanted Orthrus is just going to do more damage. So I would just rather use Orthrus than this card, to be honest. Next up, we have Balance, and Balance has Sandstorm, which goes into the same category as the rest of them. Next up, we have Iron Curse, which deals 55 plus 300 damage over 3 rounds to all enemies. Yeah, no, this one kind of sucks, actually. I'm going to put that in okay, but it's not good. It's not as bad as the rest of these spells, but it's certainly not good. Next up, we have Power Nova, which goes into S tier. It is just great. It's a great 7-pip AoE. We love it. Next up, we have Raw. Raw deals 420 to 500 damage, which is just worse than Power Nova, and deals a minus 40% weakness to all enemies. This one's like, I guess I'll put it at decent. It's okay, but like you'd much rather use Power Nova if you're on a balance. So next up, we have Nested Fury, which is 6 pips for 410 ice damage, 495 fire damage, or 620 storm damage. This one is going to go into the same tier as the rest of the 6-pip AoE spells, which is just okay. It's nothing special, and if you get the ice one, you'd be better off just using basically any other spell instead. So next up, we have Sandworm, which goes into the rest of the divided spell tier, which is bad. Next up, we have Old One's Endgame, which is 380 balance damage and converts the balance to question mark, which is certainly in effect. I would put this one at probably actually worse than Nested Fury. It'll go into the okay tier, but I would just rather use any other AoE. It's alright. Next up, we have the Wallaroo one, which is an S tier as well. Again, all the Wallaroo spells are S tier. Then we have Chimera, which is the Dragoon Amulet spell, which goes into awful. You guys know the drill by now. And now we have the final category, which is basically miscellaneous. First off, we have Dark Shepherd and Dark Fiend, which I don't even know if these still do the same effects, but either way, they take Shadow Pips, which is going to just put them into awful. So I think that's, fair. And then finally, we have healing spells, which are probably all going to go pretty high. Sprite Swarm is 55 plus 525 heal over time. Summons a life minion if damage bombs, if you blow up a damage over time on yourself. I think it's like good, but I think that out of all of the heal all allies spells, this is probably the worst, but it is good. It's a healing spell. Next up, we have Unicorn, which is going to go into great. 465 healing to all friends is going to be so useful. Next up, we have Pigsy, which is going to be 750 healing to all allies. This is probably one of the best healing spells in the entire game, and it's going into perfect. It's just really good. It's only 4 pips, which is amazing. And then finally, we have Rebirth, which is also going to go into perfect for 870 healing and 400 absorb to all allies. So this right here is the entire tier list. You can actually see it top to bottom. I wasn't sure if you were going to be able to, but you're able to. So this is my tier list of all of the AoE spells in Wizard101. Again, I know some of these are a little misleading because the icons here are different than what they are now, but that's okay. Again, I did explain all of the new effects, so hopefully you found that to be useful, and hopefully, if you either found this useful or you found this entertaining. So that's going to be it for today. I'm going to go edit it. Hopefully my headache goes away by the time I'm done editing, but we'll see. Thank you all for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Have a fantastic day.